social media,
Ooh. Relationships?
cheating,
Boo.
right? We're going to get into the nitty-gritty of it all on today's episode of
The Game Over Show.
Welcome to the Game Over Show. I'm Charles J. Orlando.
I'm Lisa Stedman.
And this is the show that brings you street smart love advice every single week.
Woot woot. That's right. We bring it to you straight. We dish it up straight up. No, as we say, no milk and cookies here. And can I just say, P.S., you're looking very handsome with your new haircut.
Why, thank you.
Right, ladies? It's good stuff.
This is, Justin Timberlake meets Mad Men.
I like it. Don Draper and Justin, yes, please.
Not together, though.
Well, you never know.
Well, maybe.
Actually, I know Don Draper's pack, and I don't know about Timberlake. Ladies, Google it.
I'm speechless.
Already?
Well, yeah.
But we're about to talk.
Oh, that's right. Well, let's get to it then. We've got your street smart love advice on today's He Said.
She Said. Sir.
Wow. You guys have got to get behind the
Street
scenes.
smart, my friends.
Oh my God. You got to get behind the scenes on this show where in between all the segments and right before and right after, she just talks smack. It's and I sit here quiet and demure and
he's
stoic.
Innocent.
Just as pure as the driven slush, right?
Yeah.
So
slush it would be.
Well, today we're talking about this really funky intersection of tech, love, and infidelity.
Yeah, right? Okay, so remember back in the day when you and your partner, like when we were kids, you shared a phone line. Everybody had one line and there was a machine.
That's really before my time, but go ahead,
please.
Lisa.
All right. I'm fucking 41, people. I remember the days when there was one phone line and an answering machine, not even voicemail, so everybody could hear your messages.
And a really long cord for the handset to drag into your bedroom.
Right, yeah. If you were lucky. Okay, now, cut to, everyone has their own cell phone. A lot of people have, we have iPads, tablets, our own voicemail, our own Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all these accounts, all this technology that makes it really easy to keep things on the sly.
Well, yeah, I mean, so bringing that into today's discussion about infidelity, you're kind of referring to like the access and the rise of communication technology has given way, right?
Well, yeah. So it feels to me like okay. So what I am sort of saying is it used to be harder to cheat, and what I'm saying is now it's easier to cheat. And a lot of people use that as a big fat permission slip to go astray.
Well, sure.
Even if it's just emotionally.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you back up just 20 years ago when, this is before you would carry a phone around in a bag, right? In a briefcase. And if you
I'm
met
not
some...
that old.
But no, but if you ran into somebody that you found attractive and you were in a relationship, if you wanted to start something, it had to happen really quiet in like aisle 5.
And over time, right?
Yeah, because you'd have to get to know them. There was no way to interact.
Not this instant hookup culture.
Right. Well, for sure, right?
Yeah.
And now with all the things you're describing, not only the tools, but the communication mediums as a whole. I mean, we've got text messaging and we've got cell phones and
But it's even getting sneakier than that because before, if you had a crazy partner, they could look on your cell phone bill and see who you were talking to. Now you can do Google Chat and nobody will ever know who you talk to.
Well, and iMessage is even worse, right? I mean, that stuff is untrackable. You can't see that. I hope there's no terrorists watching the show. Ooh, that's untrackable. Right?
Like, because that's how terrorists talk.
Well, yeah, they do.
Oh, that's untrackable.
That's untrackable.
Little nerdy terrorist.
We should use iMessage because it's untrackable. Let's do that. Shit.
So what does this mean for the future of relationships? Are they just temporary, or is everybody just cheating?
Well, we've talked about this a couple of different times. I mean, the state of relationships today are really, they've kind of been foreseen by a bunch of different experts and futurists. Yeah. You know, we've talked on the show about Alvin Toffler, who wrote Future Shock in 1970, and with a very matter-of-fact conviction, he talked about the state of relationships and the rise of communication technology that would fundamentally alter the way we not only relate to each other, but how it would change relationships and how they are formed and how long they last.
Well, how long they last, I think, is such an interesting point. And the thing that I find a little frightening is you can be in a relationship, you can be living with somebody, you can be married to somebody, and not even know that they're carrying on something else 24/7 with their phone. I mean, because we're all on our phones, right? So who's to think they're doing something they shouldn't be doing? You know, it's a little startling to me how easy and prevalent this can be.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, and so you've got the communication tools. You have the change in society, communication-wise. Yeah. Then you have all these tools like text messaging and cell phones and email and Google Chat and iMessage and everything else. But now you have a culture that is creating more technology to enable infidelity.
Yes. What's a girl or guy to do?
Well, so, I mean, Facebook and Twitter are famous/infamous for being used as hookups. Like on Facebook, we were talking about this before the show. There's that new app.
Bang with Friends.
Bang with Friends, which tells you...
Boo.
Yeah, like how...
Hey, you're my Facebook friend and you're hot. Wanna bang?
That's really like today. That's foreplay in 2013.
I know.
Seriously?
Thank you. Buy me a drink first, please.
Wow.
Well, I guess now they could just send you a virtual cocktail.
Well, yeah, there it is.
Boo again. Boo.
Yeah. Oh my God. Well, so there's that.
Yeah.
And Twitter's been kind of highlighted in a variety of different
How
scandals.
How can you hook up on Twitter, man? It's only 140 characters.
Well, right, but it's all direct message, and there was a
direct message. All I get is spam in the direct message. You know when you follow somebody and then you get that annoying message that is supposed to be personalized? Hey, love you. Check out me at blah blah blah.
Because it's all about me. Enough about me. We'll talk about me.
Game over for that.
See, but Twitter was featured with a variety of celebrities and senators and Congress people, where they were using Twitter to hook up with escorts and or a mistress. And producer Fiona's nodding her head.
That's why you don't see prostitutes on Sunset Boulevard anymore, because they've all gone to Twitter. They don't have to leave their house.
I've been wondering too. I went out Saturday,
convenient.
What happened?
Let me tell you, back in the 90s, there were hookers all up and down Sunset.
Oh, I know. I mean, what? So, but no, it's all moved. It's all moved high tech.
Good for you, escorts.
But not only the social networking sites. It's sprouted up a bunch of specific websites and technology to enable infidelity. One of the most famous of which?
Ashley Madison.
AshleyMadison.com. It's been featured on Howard Stern.
Your blog.
Right, my blog. It creates a...
So Ashley Madison, for anyone who doesn't know, is a site where people can go who are in a relationship and looking to cheat.
Right, and everybody's looking to cheat, so they're pre-qualified. So, this is the married person's bang with friends or not friends, right?
Discreetly.
Well, hopefully. But they promise you if you spend, I think it's $150, they guarantee that you'll have an affair. Guaranteed. Or your money back.
Wow, so that's basically like prostitution.
That's what I would say.
Prostitution for people who are already in a relationship.
I'm confused.
Well, Ashley Madison said you want to cheat, and they're saying for $150 you'll get your jollies. Prostitution for people who are already in a committed relationship.
Who's the prostitute and who's the John?
Well, the site I would think is the John.
They're the pimp.
Isn't that the same thing?
No.
John and a pimp?
Let me explain.
Oh my God! I'm getting schooled today. I thought a pimp and a John were the same thing.
I actually don't know. No, the John is the guy who's paying for
sex. Right. The John is the guy paying for sex. Okay,
right.
Sorry,
the pimp
my bad.
Is producer Fiona.
She is a pimp. Let me just tell you, stone cold fox pimp.
But so you have Ashley Madison, right?
Okay.
And you have Bang with Friends that are enabling all of this, and people
making
don't
it so much easier, so much more prevalent.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
what do people do? Like, what if you think that maybe your partner's dabbling in something?
Well,
Do you talk about it?
I think you have to talk about it,
Do
right?
you snoop?
I would snoop.
I'm not a fan of snooping.
I'm not a fan of snooping either, but if you're not going to get the truth by confrontation, you want the truth.
So conversation first.
I say conversation, but
Yeah.
here's the real deal, right? If you're willing to take it to a place where you're going to sacrifice your own integrity and go through their stuff, you know more than... You're just looking for admission.
Or you're really paranoid.
Or you're really paranoid.
We do know those people too. Sorry. You know who you are.
Right. But no, really, like, I mean, if you're not going to get a real answer and you want a real answer, yeah, snooping is really the only way. And of course, because there's all this tech that enables infidelity, there's a bunch of tech that stops infidelity, right? Where you can install...
Chastity belt?
No, tech. Real tech.
Oh,
Not
like
old
LoJack
tech.
for the penis?
Ow. I just got hurt.
What kind of tech are we talking about, Charles?
Like LoJack for the penis? It's better than hijack for the penis.
Oh!
But, no,
Yes! Job
that
well
was
done.
awesome.
Thank
That was
you.
totally
Thank you.
awesome. No, it's really technology that you can install on a cell phone to capture where people are visiting on websites or where they actually go, GPS style. Or there's keyboard stroke capture devices and web capture devices and all kinds of stuff that stops
So clearing cookies isn't enough anymore.
No, it's not, especially on a Windows machine. Mac, I guess, is not quite it's not quite as easy to track. But and now there's private browsing that you can enable, and there's all this anti-track.
I just don't have the energy for this. My
right.
goodness.
I mean, that's really what the highlight is, right? I mean, if you're putting all this effort into having an affair, why the hell aren't you leaving your relationship? Right? There's all this shit like, well, we got to plan it here, and I'll talk to you at this day.
How
and,
exhausting.
Right? Right.
And stressful, I might add.
Yeah, it's just...
I have a little story to share. This is a cautionary tale.
Listen.
So I was talking to a very happily married man who was sharing... when I say he was sharing about his friend, he wasn't talking about himself. He was sharing about his friend. His friend was having an affair on his wife with another woman, and the stress of it contributed to his heart attack, and he died.
Oh my God.
And my friend said, while I'm successful and I have access to women, with my job, I would never do that because the stress is not worth it.
I think that's a really important point.
I think so too. I mean, that's a whole lot of chaos you're bringing into your life to sneak around in the excitement. There's probably some excitement. Hello, role play in your own relationship. But there's other ways to get excitement in your life than sneaking around and hurting people and getting. I mean, I just think that would be way more stress than it'd be worth.
Well, yeah, and you want to kill that stress. If you're not happy in your relationship, leave. Start with a clean slate.
Yeah.
Give yourself some time to move on, and then do your thing. Right?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that either. Well, so part of what we're also describing is not only the tools, but it's the societal influences of where this all comes from.
Yeah, man, we are a tabloid culture these days.
And a celebrity-driven culture. This is why TMZ was nothing 10 years ago, and now it's the hugest thing on TV. Even
TMZ. I'm an addict, Harvey Levin, damn you.
This is the personification of guilty pleasure, right?
Totally.
Totally.
And the way I describe it, for anyone who's like, what? Like, I will not get on an airplane without my celebrity magazines because you know what? I run a business. I'm a very busy woman. When I get into my celebrity fix, I get to tune everything out. Nothing matters. I don't have to think about anything, and it's very vicarious.
Well, see, but there's nothing wrong with that kind of mentality.
But it doesn't make me want to go cheat on my husband.
Well, right. It's kind of like junk food, right? If you try to live on hot Cheetos, you're dead, right? But yeah, right? Like
I go to the grocery store and change my diet.
But you have to live on good food, right? But then you can treat yourself to something that's not quite so good for you.
Like your chocolate that I saw yesterday on Facebook. That looked delicious.
So good. It was so good.
Not fair.
But when it infiltrates society, this is when things change.
Yes.
So on an individual basis, there's nothing wrong with what Lisa's describing, right? Because everybody, when you're driving down the freeway and there's an accident, everybody looks.
Yeah.
It's part of who we are as human beings. The problem occurs is when it infiltrates society, it becomes accepted as norm. And
even encouraged, the whole it's okay to cheat, or if you're around people who are cheating and they're advocating cheating, I say get better friends.
Oh, for sure. Well, this is where not only is this stuff happening, but TMZ and all the tabloids, put it out there as scandal.
And everybody,
entertainment. Exactly. The scandal has been entertainmentized. And now it's part of culture.
Yeah.
This is what the Romans referred to as bread and circuses, right? This is how you control.
The Smarty just came out. He's a real smarty, you guys.
God. But no, this is where you end up distracting. In my opinion, we are distracting humanity from what matters most.
Well, we're also dumbing down our culture. Anybody feel stupider these days?
I didn't understand what. Huh?
All right, so culture is contributing to it.
Well, yeah, we are enabling our own broken culture. So if TMZ wouldn't even be around unless there were a market for it.
Unless we were interested. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
This is why Honey Boo Boo is a household name. But anybody else,
people have kind of gotten over that. I think she was a flash in the pan.
See, but you know who that is. Tell me who won the last Nobel Peace Prize.
Not me.
Right. Exactly. I can't name it either, by the way. And that's part of the problem. Nobody knows who the best teacher in their community is, but everybody knows who Honey Boo Boo is. Everybody knows who Kim Kardashian is, right?
Suddenly I feel very stupid.
Well, we all do. And that's really the deal. But so bringing this back full circle, when you have a culture that entertainmentizes, for lack of a better word, scandal, infidelity, celebrity cheating, celebrity scandal, you end up in these issues.
So, solution. Let's talk about what you can do. I want to talk specifically first of all, gut instinct. If you think, to your point earlier, that your partner may be having some infidelity, whether it's emotional or actually acted upon physical infidelity, first of all, trust your gut.
Yes.
Don't jump to conclusions. Do your research. Talk about it. If you got to snoop, I guess you got to snoop. If they are cheating, is that a deal breaker for you? You got to know that. But how do you create a life online that doesn't lead to this in a partnership? What do you do? Well,
before we get to that, I just had a comment on what you said first, and that is to go ahead and snoop and check and trust your gut. My question comes in, if you're getting that kind of gut reaction, something's either broken in your relationship or something's broken with you. So
good point.
One of those two things has to be addressed really quickly, because those gut reactions don't come in a healthy relationship. They just don't come. So either you have insecurities or things that you haven't solved on your side, where you're now trying to take them out in the relationship, or something's happened in the relationship that's creating this instant divide, and what's going on there. So that's the real issue for me.
Yeah.
That's the real issue. But so how do you get through that? You got to talk. Yeah. You either need to talk about what's troubling you, and if you don't trust them, then what the hell are you doing there?
Yeah, what about for, like, let's say 20-somethings specifically, who are so into technology, who they've lived with it their entire lives and are so used to being on this nonstop. And how do you create a relationship that allows you to have technology in your life and have some boundaries?
Well, yeah, and that's really part of the discussion too.
Okay.
It's really, I mean, there's nothing wrong with tech. Right?
No.
But tech is supposed to be there for your convenience, not... You're not at the convenience of technology.
Yeah.
Right? Now, some people use it as a convenient way to get hookups, right? So, but that's just bad.
Yeah.
But setting normal boundaries with tech is a good way to go.
On a date, don't be like this. Like, you want to be looking at the person you're actually on a date.
And you don't have to check in every single place you go. Newsflash to everybody out there, nobody cares that you just had a cinnamon latte, at Starbucks. They don't care. No, I'm sorry.
Oh.
I'm sorry, no.
Well, you just saved me 5 minutes.
Right.
Awesome. Cool, okay.
So that's part of it. The other, just to continue the earlier piece of the discussion, like, cheating is really a symptom of a relationship that's already experiencing issues.
Yes.
So if they're doing something, if you think they're doing something, it's really a symptom. There's something else going on. Not to excuse anybody's cheating, right? But there's something that's broken in the relationship.
Yeah.
And maybe it's all them. Maybe they just want an ego boost. Maybe whatever. But that's still affecting the relationship as a whole.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
Technology just makes it more convenient.
Yeah. All right. I don't think we solved every problem, but I think we've given you some things to think about.
Definitely. And if you have some comments, or if you've been through something similar, hit us up on Facebook.
Yeah, please do. We want to hear from you.
Facebook.com/thegameovershow, and we'll listen. And if your story's interesting, we'll put it on the air.
We will. And we're going to be back next week on Tuesday.
Right, on Tuesday.
We're broadcasting Tuesday next week, 2 p.m. Pacific.
Right. We'll be here 5 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. in London, 9 a.m. in Sydney. So we appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thanks for watching, guys.
Until next week, I'm Charles J. Orlando.
And I'll be Lisa Stedman until further notice.
This has been Game Over Show. We'll see you later.
Bye.